We add mobility, security, and further functions to the traditional means of payments. This is what we call mobile enablement. We provide that all over the world. However, the functions differ significantly. In the United States, on the most developed market of the world, we are providing convenience for the shoppers, next generation retail solutions, whereas in the least developed parts of the world, we provide access to financial services in the absence of traditional payment and financial infrastructure.
One of the differentiating factors of Selim is the number of use cases that we have where a user can find benefit in actually making payments or purchasing. From bill payment to donation to money send to m-commerce to e-commerce to paying for parking, tollways. The amount of use cases is key, because I don't want to download an app, put in my credit card information only to pay bills. I want to use it for a variety of different reasons, depending on the day, depending on the moment. I want to be able to pay at a restaurant using my mobile phone. If I'm not going to carry my credit cards or debit cards with me, then I better be able to use my phone to make those payments anywhere I am. Selim is extremely flexible in its approach to a market. For example, we can go in to a market and offer a revenue share agreement, a licensing agreement, a joint venture opportunity. So how flexible we are not only in the use cases, but how we work with our partners.
RKFM is at the heart of Tungsam's vision for the future. Data doesn't matter, doesn't care if it's a plant, a building or a sensor. So this is something where we see a lot of synergies in the future that we can deploy for the benefit of our customers.
Az épületeknek és a benne lévő helyiségeknek, berendezéseknek az adatai már a tervezési fázisban bekerülnek a tervekbe. Az üzemeltetésre is fel lehet használni természetesen ezeket az adatokat, és egy központi adatbázisban akár különböző tervekből érkező adatokat meg tudunk jeleníteni, és integráltan egy rendszerben tudják használni az üzemeltető kollégák.
A legfontosabb szempont a leendő szolgáltatóval szemben az volt, hogy itthonról lássa el a mi üzemeltetési rendünkhöz igazodóan a szolgáltatási tevékenységét, rendelkezzen megfelelő referenciákkal, illetve felkészült legyen Magyarország legnagyobb középületének, BIM alapú modelljének és rendszerének az üzemeltetésére, ezért is esett a választásunk az ArchiFM-re.
Kebahagiaan berawal dari kemudahan. Kemudahan untuk menghadirkan kesenangan, keceriaan, dan kepuasan. Kepuasan untuk meraih kesuksesan. Menghadirkan filosofi smooth dalam budaya kerja, Metranet berupaya membangun koloni yang solid untuk menatap masa depan. Semangat pagi yang hadir dalam keseharian menjadi sebuah ritme kerja yang harmonis di keluarga Metranet.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, our respected panelists and audience. Selamat siang, Bapak-Bapak dan Ibu-Ibu sekalian. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to Hunindo Tech 2.0 Business Forum, brought to you by the Embassy of Hungary in Indonesia and sponsored by the Ministry of Communications and Informatics of the Republic of Indonesia, Tengsram Group, Selum, Telkom Indonesia, RCFM, and Festipay. The digital landscape in Hungary and Indonesia have witnessed a boom in line with global trends and is thus an immensely lucrative opportunity that countries must capitalize on. Both countries have a lot to offer in terms of technological innovations, be it from the infrastructure, financial technology, cybersecurity, startup and innovation management, transportation, and even medical technology fields. At the Hunindo Tech 2.0 Business Forums, stakeholders from both countries are here to share valuable knowledge and experience, and hopefully can form strong partnerships in the long term. For further information regarding the potential partnership opportunities, kindly visit the official website for Hunindo Tech 2.0 Business Forum at www.hunindotech.id. Without further ado, let us begin with this session panel. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Agnes. I am a co-founder of Prosehat, Indonesian health tech startup which focuses on virtual healthcare. I am delighted to be the moderator today for the medical technology panel sessions. So let us greet our today distinguished panelists. Our first Hungarian panelist, Dr. 24. Dr. 24 has been in the service of health for almost 30 years, during which it has become one of the leading service providers in the Hungarian occupational health market. In 2020, despite the unpredictability of the market, they managed to conclude an international investor agreement with two well-known European capital funds, which significantly accelerated the growth of their market share. Their exclusive practice complexes and personal diagnostic equipment enabled the group to perform more than 300,000 examinations annually, most of them in the field of occupational health and adult outpatient care. And with more than 50 inpatient beds and 6 operating rooms, they have the largest private operating room capacity in Hungary. Their professional staff numbers more than 470 people, which is also unique in the country. Dr. Otto Skoran, MD, Senior Director Strategy and Innovation, will be speaking to us today. Dr. Skoran is a medical doctor board certified in internal medicine. He has over 20 years of experience in the clinical development of medical technologies and 13 years of experience in management of healthcare providers. And then our next panelist from Indonesia, we have Association of Health Tech Indonesia. Association of Health Tech Indonesia is an association for health tech businesses and professionals with more than 100 members across 7 categories, from e-learning, on-demand, e-commerce, teleconsulting, media community, AI and IoT and others. And speaking on behalf in this association is Dr. Gregoris Bimantoro, the chairman of Association Health Tech Indonesia. Dr. Bimantoro has over than 15 years of experience in digital health, and as medical doctor, his passion is in sustainable innovations to improve quality of life. Our second panelist from Hungary is the EIT Health. EIT Health is a not-for-profit organization and one of the biggest European public-private partnerships in the field of healthcare innovations. Comprised of approximately 150 partners, EIT Health is a unique European network of top companies, universities, research and development centers, as well as hospitals and institutes. EIT Health's role is to build an ecosystem that enables the development of healthcare for the future so that European citizens can live longer and healthier lives. EIT Health upgrades the skills of healthcare professionals through Europe, investing in Europe-based talents, and facilitates the commercializations of innovative health products or solutions within the European Union. It is one of the largest publicly funded health initiatives and is supported by European Institute of Innovations and Technology, a body of European Union. The InnoStars cluster is one of the 7 geographical areas of the EIT Health. It covers half of the Europe, including Poland, Hungary, Italy, and Portugal, as well as additional regions included in the EIT Regional Innovation Team, the Baltic States, Croatia, Slovakia, the Czech Republic, Slovenia, Greece, and Romania. This is a group of countries qualified by the European Innovation Scoreboard as moderate innovators. InnoStars is focused on promoting entrepreneurship innovations and education in the domain of healthcare, healthy living, and active aging in the region, and closing the gap between regions that are leaders in innovations and those regions which are progressing. Joining us from EIT Health today is Mr. Tamas Bekasi, RIS Business Creation Project Manager. In the past 15 years, Tamas Bekasi acquired wide scale of knowledge in process and business development, marketing communications, and international service transfer, while he worked in the agency, corporate, and SSC sector. As Business Creation Project Manager for the RIS region in the EIT Health, his top priority is to support and mentor European healthcare professionals from the ideation phase through the market entry to the global expansion. Next is the genetic panel from Indonesian panelists, PT Global Genetika Indonesia, also known as Genetics Indonesia. Genetics Indonesia is a biotechnology company founded in 2016. They focus on molecular genetic testing as well as next-generation sequencing services, with their laboratory located at Tangerang, West Java. Speaking on behalf of Genetics Indonesia is Mr. Simon Wong, PhD, founder and director, as well as Dr. Ivan William Harsono, MTI, bioinformatician and data science manager. Mr. Simon is PhD holder from the University of Melbourne and has over 20 years of experience in business development. Dr. Ivan is a lifelong learner and aspires to integrate artificial intelligence with medical healthcare to help early detection of diseases. He has published several IT health papers in local and international corpus accredited journals. His research focuses in public health, preventable diseases, artificial intelligence, computer-aided detection, medical image analysis, object detection and classification, and neural networks, health informatics, and bioinformatics. Another notable panelist today that I must say is very incredibly relevant given to the COVID-19 pandemic is Resistant International Limited. The resistant photocatalytic coating system, their main feature is based on a uniquely developed chemical solution. The system uses light as catalyst to achieve titanium dioxide hygienic effects. The coating system, thanks to the recent researches, integrates to the host medium in a molecular level. Therefore, it cannot be removed by conventional cleaning methods and will remain active continuously up to 1 year interval. These two unique properties of this system result in a surface which keeps its continuous disinfectant effect up to 1 year, protecting the users and the environment from contamination. Joining us from Resistant is Mr. Christian Mehes, Regional Representative. Christian has over 15 years of experience in innovation management and 20 years in business information system development. His company in Hungary is working with 5-6 investors and technology companies on strategy and implementation. He moved to Indonesia around 2 years ago and is working on building local connections and business presence for Hungarian products, including the resistant antivirus coating. Last but not least, we have Sehati Tele-CTG joining with us as one of the Indonesian panelists. Sehati is an IoT platform for maternal health to monitor fetal wellness, especially in remote areas. It aims to provide equal maternity care in Indonesia. Representing Sehati today is Mr. Abraham Auzan, co-founder and chief product officer. Abraham has always had a curious mind with a knack for problem solving. Having graduated from Monash University with a bachelor's in information technology system and a master's degree in international business, his education background paired with his interest in developing communities has led him to help various tech startups and social enterprises over the past 6 years. Wrapping up the introduction, now let us begin the discussion. So, a warm-up questions to all Hungarian panelists. How did the pandemic affect the implementation of digital health and innovative technologies in your company or institute?
Thank you very much. And I'm very happy to be here. So it's a very difficult situation that because of the COVID, we can organize this conference via online. So it is a very unusual situation for me. So that's why. But that it's congratulations for this organization. Thank you very much for the introduction of the Dr. 24. And the COVID was absolutely shock situation of all of the healthcare companies in Hungary. But we started a couple of years ago to prepare for the digital technology introduction. I would like to mention this very special case study that is the pediatric field. that in Hungary there is a special situation, because that is the Hungarian doctors are aging, so that it's less doctors we have than is necessary in Hungary. So that's why we started to develop technologies how we can improve the efficiency of the doctor's work. And the pediatric field is a very good point that is we could introduce it. And we started implement via the medical system the new technologies, that is the IoTs. And our institute is responsible for the pediatric asthma patients, and we are responsible up to 10,000 asthmatic children. And when the COVID started, and mid of March, there was the first lockdown, and we had to close all of the institutes, that we, within 72 hours, we could introduce the online visit system based on the experience that we started previously. And during the 2.5 months, none of our patients, thanks for the colleagues and thanks for the brilliant technology, we didn't detect any worsening of the symptoms, and any of our patients cannot admitted to the hospital treatment. So it was a very, very difficult probe and try for this system, and we jumped minimum 2 or 3 years from now for this implementation of the technology. And in Hungary, there was a very special situation, because this online visits, it wasn't a medical visit in Hungary. So we could do only consultation, and we couldn't prescribe drugs. We couldn't give serious suggestions to the patients. But after the COVID, the Hungarian government changed this law, and from now we can perform online visits. And thanks for the centralized information system, we can prescribe drugs, and via the cloud system. So it will be very dramatically change the medical treatment in Hungary.
If I may continue.
With the
Sorry.
with that. Yes.
Okay.
So if I may continue, so it's pretty hard to tell everything good regarding COVID, but that's definitely a good point that it has been accelerated the progress of the integration of digital health solutions. So what we're talking about is not just about Hungary, but Europe-wide. We had so many and still so many digital health solutions on the plate, from the diagnosis to the therapy side as well. But the hard factor here was how the healthcare systems, private and public, both can integrate these solutions to the daily routine. And of course, still the system is really inflexible, but definitely COVID accelerated and made it easier. So again, it's really hard to tell something good about COVID, but that's definitely one of the benefits that seems to be the barriers, and all the regulations has been enlightened in order to make this happen. Just EIT Health, we also ran some programs supporting the digital health solutions, which is reflecting to COVID-19. We had a special program for digital health solutions, which are about tier 6 maturity level. So definitely the more mature services we try to support during the year. But other than that, of course, I don't say anything new. Digital health solutions are pretty trending. So it happened before the COVID-19, and it's happening right now. The good news is that we are able to kind of accept it, host it within the public and private healthcare system, and finally we can start to use it in order to make patients' life better.
Yes, exactly. So absolute. So it is a dramatic change in our environment, and day by day we learn the lesson, and day by day we introduce the new technology. So that it's very important that is the proper health information system is necessary. This is absolutely the basis. So we introduced in our hospital, which was not easy because we have a lot of locations inside Hungary, and to integrate the API for this IoT technology, it is easier when you have integrated medical system. This is a very crucial.
Very much appreciated. Last we heard from the resistance for the first questions, please, Mr. Christian.
Yes, thank you for the invitation first. Our company has very little to do with digital technologies, as we are a physical company, so we are providing physical services to other market participants. What I could add to this train of thought is that there were certain existing technologies like measurement technologies of infection level, for example, for surface infection levels, which were used in very professional settings like in food manufacturing and like those kinds of plants. And these technologies made it to the street level. So now companies are using the previously specifically used measurement devices in their own lives, and this can give them a feedback. So science comes from feedback and repeatability, and if you cannot measure the problem, then you cannot respond to it. Not to mention, you cannot respond to it in advance. So we are quite happy to see that. We are certainly building a database from these experiences, and we can, show people how their real life is that they didn't know about without the measurements. But as I said, the two other gentlemen with the IT companies are better suited to answer this question.
Okay, so we back to Dr. 24. So it's a little bit probing question. So how can technologies, so this is a question for Dr. Skoran, how can technologies such as online visit systems improve the efficiency of medical treatments in the private health sector?
Yes, the private health sector is more sensitive to introduce the new technology because that the decision line is easier than in a public sector. So that it's all of the new technologies that is I can see in Hungary that is can start as a pilot in the private sector, and if it is feasible, that we can increase and we can offer to the public sector. We are in a very good position because we partially reimbursed by the National Health Service of Hungary, and we can test both things, the private and the public also. And it is a very tough work because that not only the doctors are not resistant, but it's to use an unusual and new technologies is always as difficult, because that the physicians has experience for the last 10, 20, 30 years, and to change the working method, it is always it's a very slow process. But because of the COVID, because of the lockdown, we had to change dramatically. And the other part is the patient part. So patient also accommodated that, okay, that is the medical treatment means that I go to the doctor, I go to the examination room, I tell my problems, and the doctor helps. And sometimes we have experienced during the last couple of months, because after the lockdown we tried to maintain the online systems parallel to the on-site visits, but what we recognized that the doctors accommodated easier for this new situation, but we had a problem with the patient part, because the patient wanted to come back, and we had to train them that it's okay, that is fine, it's a direct link to the doctor, but for example, it is not necessary to come back to discuss your lab results. So it is easier with online visits and maybe measure your lung parameters. It's a home care spirometer and so on. So it will take years, I see, but we are on the right track. And because of the situation that the private sector can accommodate easily, so I see we are on the right track, and we try to introduce these technologies very fast.
Thank you, Dr. Skoran. So, continuing from Dr. Skoran, there is a change in both healthcare professionals and the patients. Now we want to learn from the Indonesian panelists from Sehati Tele CTG. Now, how does your company innovations create an impact in the maternal health? Or can you please share with us the experience on managing an urgent interventions in healthcare using the medical technology? Please, Mr. Abraham.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Agnes. So yeah, previously before the pandemic, Sehati Tele CTG is born because of our, concern about the high infant mortality rate, and also, a stunting rate in Indonesia, and mostly the mom that the cases on the remote area and rural area in Indonesia because of the gap of the healthcare access for people. And so basically what we do is we develop the IoT device and also platform that help the midwife, because we have almost like 200,000 midwives in Indonesia, and they are work even in the very, remote area to help pregnant mom. But again, they don't have tools, they don't have like a connection with the referral doctor, with the specialist doctor in the city, for example. So basically what we do is we develop the IoT device and also the platform to help the midwife to monitor the pregnant mom in the remote area and also in the rural area. So we can do like early detection and also like early referral if mom have a very high risk factor. So actually we already have did some piloting in the 2019 and actually succeed to decrease like infant mortality rate in several areas in Indonesia by, for example, in the Kupang, East Nusa Tenggara by like a 70%. But again, after the pandemic, the situation is changing. Like not only mom in the remote area, but also mom in the big cities like Jakarta, they don't have access for the for the quality healthcare, in the hospital or in the clinic, because it's very dangerous for them to go to the to the public area, right? So basically, the technology is give big impact in Indonesia healthcare sector. Even the government give make a regulation to allow the digital technology to be implemented during this pandemic. So actually this is a very good sign for us as a startup. So all the telemedicine can be worked during the pandemic. And actually this is a very good experience for us, because we saw not all the mom, even in the big city like Jakarta, have access to hospital during this pandemic era. And actually we do collaboration with the government clinic and also with the midwife clinic in big cities like Jakarta to provide the telecardiotomography services. So basically mom, maternal mom, they can go to the nearest midwife, or even they can order for the home care services for their maternal health to be to be managed and monitored by the medical practitioner and have a very early result and good healthcare services. So basically for me and for our company, even for I think for all the startup healthcare startup ecosystem in Indonesia, pandemic is like an accelerator process for us. Everyone can be, mostly in the telemedicine area, can be supporting government because, like government have a limitation in terms of budget and in terms of their, like a facility. So we are collaborating with them to strengthen the healthcare facility, healthcare services for the society in Indonesia.
Very good. So COVID-19 gives a big impact for health innovation. And speaking of innovation, I would like to speak with the assistant, Mr. Christian Mehes. Disinfectants are booming right now during the COVID-19 pandemic. And the novel creation using the titanium dioxide, the hygienic effect is very spot on. So how can we measure the effectiveness of the photocatalytic coating system? Please, Mr. Christian.
Okay, so what we didn't know before, well, like we know it, but we didn't have a proof for it, is what happens on a surface when you are not cleaning it. So most of the companies, by the laws of government at the moment, are required to clean the surfaces at least once a day, but sometimes like every hour. If you think about that, it's 365 days for like a hotel. It could be in the range of almost 10,000 cleanings per every single item, which is a lot of effort. So if we measure the surface infection level of any object, then we would follow how it changes during the day. To do that, we can use a technology which is called an ATP scanner. It's short for adenosine triphosphate, which is actually a molecule that your body stores energy in. So it is in every single cell of your body and my body, and also it can be found in many living, like all of the living organisms, including virus, bacteria, fungi, and all that. So this device is very simple. It can, by the take of swab, you can get a sample from any surface, like your table, like your doorknob, and you can measure that sample and find out how much, so to say, life is in it. So if you know how much life is on your table, you may find out if it's, I would say, infectious. The ATP scanner is not specific, so it wouldn't be able to tell you if it's COVID or fungi or mold or whatever it is, but at least it will tell you how this level of potential risk increases and decreases during the daytime. So when we go to a hospital and we take these measurements, I mean, hospitals are serious about cleaning, right? So they are using disinfectants and crazy sanitation systems by default. Now they are doing it even more. But since you go into a hospital where people are infectious, that's a location for risk, like a lot. You go in with a sore throat and you come out with COVID. So not a good deal, right? And we showed them that even with this crazy cleaning, the level of infection, I mean, the contamination level on their objects are going up and down just like in an office building. So nothing really is different in the life of a hospital. And by going there and measuring it, a coating system like an antivirus permanent coating can actually clean the surface and disinfect the surface 24/7 every second of the day. So you don't have to disinfect it yourself, spend money on it and spend money on detergents. You can simply go there, check your surfaces, check your objects, and see if it's not good or good. And when you apply a 24/7 solution for that, you can go there practically any time of the day and see that the level of life on your object is close to zero all the time.
Okay, so we have heard how resistant contribute to improve the disinfections on a larger scale. So let's find out about the Indonesia current best standards for disinfection protocols. I would like to ask Dr. Bimo, can you please share with us about the best standards in Indonesia regarding the disinfection protocols, medical cleaning services in the Indonesia healthcare?
Okay, thank you so much for the time. Basically, this is actually a bit of my context in a health tech association, but I will try to help within the regulation or guideline about the disinfection in healthcare and perhaps also in general to prevent the COVID-19 right now. So basically, there is a few standard that has been put by the MOH, adapted by the WHO recommendation using hypochlorite, phenol, benzalkonium chloride, and also some others like hydrogen peroxide. But this is mostly for the surface, and I think for the room there is some recommendations talking about UV lighting, etc., and also specific more about the every place, like how to treat in a school, in a public places, etc. So many things, more details about how to do this from the letters or suggestion from MOH and local health district, especially that I found is from Jakarta area.
Okay, so that is the update and the novel concept of the current technology in the disinfectant. So I would like to move to the genetic testing. So genetic test is now becoming more familiar and more common to us ever since the COVID-19 pandemic. So I would like to ask the Genetic Indonesia, what is the importance of genetic testing? Can you please share with us? It might be answered by the Dr. Simon or Dr. Ivan.
Okay, thank you very much for the time, Dr. Agnes. So regarding the COVID testing in our side, based on the way WHO and CDC recommendation, it is a golden standard to do the PCR testing as one of the modality to screen and diagnose the PCR test. And usually in Indonesia, we have many services of the PCR testing, whether you could have it on site in the hospital or the clinic setting, or we could the swabber or the phlebotomist will come to your house as the home service, and the last one is maybe in the group, right? So we come to the corporate and something like this. The essence of the genetic testing is basically to detect the RNA of the COVID virus, the SARS-CoV-2, and in our case, actually Genetics Indonesia have many more products of the genetics testing, especially in the lifestyle and the clinical, which we could screen for diet, health, sport, pharmacogenomics, and also the cancer screening. So actually, the genetic testing in Indonesia is not just limited to the PCR testing for the SARS-CoV-2. And basically, what I want to emphasize is that the genetic testing is essential for our health. And by doing so, we could find the susceptibility of the gene in the human, especially in the Indonesian population, and improve our research and finding the most suitable vaccine in Indonesia. Maybe Mr. Simon want to add something?
All good, Ivan. Thank you.
Okay, so coming further the discussions, I would like to ask the EIT Health, how has the startup accelerations and investment opportunity changed in Europe due to the COVID-19? We have heard from our panelists, they all agree that this COVID pandemic has given a lot of opportunities to all startups and health innovators.
Yes, so actually it has a kind of dual situation regarding that, because we experienced that private investors became a little bit more conservative because of the economical impact of COVID-19. So a little bit slowing down. Of course, it's not a unified overview. So many of them started to be a little bit more open for investment, but most of them became more conservative. On the other side, accelerators, public funds, European fund became more advanced. So many of the institutes in Europe, national and European-wide institutes, open more programs than ever, started to finance startups, innovator more than ever. So just us, we launched the Startup Rescue Instrument program, which is definitely for compensating the loss of some of the investments which has been planned for startups. So this is definitely a European, it's together with the European Investment Bank. It's a European approach for saving up the startups, more major startups who are about to open, for instance, a Series B funding round. Besides that, we also launched some new accelerator programs in order to bring up more talents, because our only objective is to start to support the startups from the ideation phase, of course, the talents from the education side, to the maturity level, up to the scale-ups and scale-outs. So from this perspective, I can say that this can be an early stage or becoming of a golden age for startups and innovators in the healthcare sector. What we need to be careful is that whenever COVID is done, I hope that in 2021 it will be done, but we are just hoping at the moment. So hopefully, yes, I'm a little bit pessimistic, like Christian is, but hopefully in 2021, 2022, so in some years we will be quite over this situation, and we should not forget what healthcare innovation is giving us. So it should not be forgotten for the further years as well. So we should keep at least the current speed of innovation and integration of innovation what we have right now, because what previously just Otto mentioned, Dr. Skora mentioned, so it's important to educate people as well, because we came to an age where our innovation, where our devices are smarter than us. So that's important on the patients and the expert side, that we should continuously educate people, because yes, now we have a better speed of integration, but definitely on the education side, we kept the original rhythm, which can generate years. So we also need to integrate the speed of education towards the patients and the experts. We should keep the rhythm of and integration, and that can help us preventing the further pandemics which is upon our head, but also to be more prepared for the next COVID, whenever we are done with the current one.
Okay, so speaking of education and integration, let's hear from the Association of Health Tech Indonesia. It comprises of 7 different categories, which is also e-learning, and the others is the health system, the health informatics system. So, to Dr. Gregoris Bimantoro, are there any significant changes? Are there any major trends in healthcare innovations in Indonesia before and after COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, so basically we are seeing a growth of, I think, more than 25% of the numbers of startups joining us since last year. So in 2019, we were closing around 90s, and right now is, I think, more than 120s. And we are also seeing that with more and more incubators. So this is something happens across the world. I think about the numbers of incubator and as such actually a bit reduced. But right now in Indonesia, the government initiative push more in universities to create their own incubators. So right now, universities and higher educations have more incubators. So the new initiative or new research is going to be a new startups in a very fast. And the Ministry of Research and Technology just announced, I think, a lot of, I think, almost hundreds of new fundings in a seed stage for a new initiative. And we already see a growth of a category from AI, IoT, and also genetics, like Genetic Indonesia here. There is becoming like the kind of new normals, high-tech startups, facing over perhaps more traditional like consultations, or even like a marketplace model. But agree that the e-learning in the terms of users, I think it's very booming for the healthcare professionals. This is the way that we can only do the medical educations or the professional educations through the digital either mobile apps or a webinar like this, right?
Okay, so COVID-19 creates and push a more diverse innovations and startups. So the next questions will be for, oh, sorry, there is a little bit questions that I recall that Dr. Gregory Bimantoro is also specifically passionate in artificial intelligence in health. So does AI here have a significant role in the Indonesian healthcare?
So basically, Health Tech Indonesia as an association, Health Tech ID as an association, is also participating in a two big initiatives during this pandemic. First, we're assisting the National Strategy for AI Indonesia, and it was launched in August, and we just finished the AI Summit, Indonesia AI Summit 2020, and there is still a few sessions running on for the members of society. This is very big things, and healthcare is one of the priority, and we have been doing tremendous work to make sure that the data integration, the 4P healthcare initiative that includes genetic testing, etc., is inside the strategy. And second one, for COVID-19, the AI was used, I think, still used to help radiologists, and also right now we see a new device using a chromatography, a gas chromatography to nosing the COVID conditions, and even more and more initiative using AI to help screening in a COVID-19 has been booming. And I think we are not going to stop with AI in healthcare, and more discussion about ethics is very important. And we would like to see how we can also collaborate with more advanced development, such as Europe, UK, or any other place in the world.
Very interesting. So for the EIT Health and Association of Health Tech Indonesia, what type of European acceleration opportunities or general cooperation do the Indonesian health startups look for? Perhaps.
So like I have already talked with the Netherlands and UK since last year. So it's not new, and I'm very glad that Hungary also contact us and held this business forum. We would like to see, and I've seen a few your own demand semi-final for EIC Health semi-finalists from biotech. It's amazing. I mean, we need to learn a lot. I mean, Indonesia, perhaps the university researchers, they need to push to be like that more and more. Really, I don't say other things is not important, but the real hard stuff like the biotech, we needed that kind of advanced technology here also. So what we would like to see is how we can cooperate. If European startups want to expand in Southeast Asia, you can pick Indonesia as the biggest market, but we also would like to understand more about the technology, do the transfer. You also, mostly from university, I understand that you have a TTO, right? And then how we can collaborate together. So this kind of technology not only becoming spread around just as a product or ready to use, but also we can implement this and develop more like, let's say, genetics. You cannot do genetics based on only like from European. You need to do also the testing and trial from Indonesian and Southeast Asia, right?
Okay. So, from the EIT Health, please.
Yes, so so we have thousands of different opportunities also for Indonesian companies. Just in a nutshell, so EIT Health, so in our mission and our task is to support first of all the talents, so students, every European healthcare innovators who is now sitting in the benches of different universities. That's one. The other is that we are supporting just in a year, usually 400 to 500 startups in Europe, and besides that, we are also supporting and working closely together with big corporates and consortiums consist of big corporates, universities, and also startups. So actually, what Indonesian startups, just focusing on this part, needs to be done in order to apply to an EIT Health startup program. And actually, just this year, we had 19 different programs from ideation to scale up and scale out. So actually we can cover all of the demands which is coming from different maturity levels of the startups. So actually they need to establish a company in the European Union. So that's the only important step they need to do. And just giving you a short hint, Estonia is one of the, so in Hungary, you can establish easy a company. If you don't want to cross any borders in Europe, you can do the Estonian e-registration. So that's something you can always do. Of course, it takes a little bit of money, but not much. But besides that, Hungary is also offering a great opportunity to establish a company. So if you want to make a bridgehead in Europe, then Hungary could be a good choice. And from that point, actually, you can apply to EIT Health programs. We are able to give you money as a startup. Of course, we are able to give you money, boot camps, trainings, mentor, everything, and network, most importantly. Besides that, we are also working with outreach countries and organizing soft landing programs, meaning that we are able to catapult European companies, for instance, to Indonesia. So, of course, for that, we need partnerships, but we already have Bridgehead Global program, which is serving the same. And, of course, under Bridgehead Global, we can make some new alliances and new partnerships, for instance, with the Indonesian institutes and the Indonesian partners. So that can be the other way. But again, so our ecosystem, whenever you have an established company in Europe, of course, more than welcome to have you.
Okay. Following up to these discussions, Dr. Bimo, Dr. Gregoris Bimantoro, what are some of the key highlights in the health tech industry from the regulatory point of view, specifically in the terms of market entry in Indonesia?
Okay, so I think we understand there is people call it a red list for the investment in Indonesia, especially for healthcare. I mean, this is kind of regular practice in all world, right? So we do have kind of things, but for health tech, actually, the regulation is still not very clear because this is very new. So it's more like in a startup economy running right now, the models for regulations. And I think we are still seeing opportunity for the market entry as long as we can work together to develop the solutions for Indonesian market. Right? And second thing is we see that there is more and more opportunity actually for all around the world that Indonesians can learn and start to do something that perhaps already done in other part of the world, right? So it's already success in Europe, and you have the models, and we can learn and see how this could apply in Indonesia, and we can work together. I mean, we don't need to recreate all the everything from beginning, but in other parts, if there is something that can be like the solution that have been developed as a frugal innovations in, let's say that I understand, sorry, I mentioned that MIT, they have a program in Africa, let's say, and then they create something there, and then they learn and get back to the US to do something that they think before it could cost like $10,000, and right now they could cost only a few $100s. But that kind of frugal innovations can also help to happening here, like perhaps Sehati with the CGT. How much is? I think it's very, very affordable in terms of pricing, right? So the market entry, I think we need to see more than just regulations, but really see the where is the customer segment that we are going to do, and we are willing to do it together, actually.
Okay, thank you. Also, thank you for the elaboration, Dr. Bimo. So next, as per Mr. Tamas Bekasi has said in his answer about the opportunities to cooperate with Hungary or even the EIT Health, so to both Sehati Tele-CTG and Genetics Indonesia, do you have plans to go abroad to the international? And how would you plan to introduce your services to the foreign markets?
Okay, so Genetics Indonesia first.
Yeah, sure.
All
Please.
right. Okay.
Mr.
So,
Simon.
as reflected in our names, Genetics Indonesia, we don't really focus on foreign genetics data collections. So we believe in Indonesian diversity in terms of DNA data management. So we'd like to focus more into Indonesian DNA database collections management, and especially on how to differentiate and how to get insights from our own database. But having said that, in order to do that, obviously we need to develop international collaborations. So we have a lot of international partnerships with the US, with Taiwanese company, with Singaporean companies. So we are very open for research collaborations and also for commercializations, both within and outside of Indonesia. For example, lately we are also developing some partnership with a liquid biopsy company because we want to offer that to Indonesian populations. But at the same time, we are also doing research on finding the biomarkers for Indonesia populations. So I guess those kind of potential international potential collaborations is obviously there. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Abraham.
Okay. Personally, from me and from perspective of study telestrategy, healthcare is a universal language, and even like the maternal health, like what we develop, like a Sehati, even like the IoT device called the telecardiotocography is also like a universal language. And from the problem statement, I think not only Indonesia have a problem, you know, like the gap in the healthcare services in the maternal health, but also in other several developing countries also have the same problem with like Indonesia. That's why like actually before the pandemic, we already planned to expand our market to several developing countries, other developing countries, with the international collaboration as well. And yeah, I think hopefully after this condition is more stabilized, we will follow up all the, you know, like the potential collaboration, the global potential collaboration to help more people and to help more society. Thank you.
Thank you. That's from the Indonesian panelists. So the last question from the Hungary panelists about going global. How does your company will contribute to improve disinfections on a larger scale or in a global scale? Please, Mr. Christian.
Thank you. I think what we can see right now is that governments are trying to put an increasing amount of requirements on individuals, companies, hospitals, government offices in terms of costs and efforts to overcome this pandemic as the bad guy on the market. And on the other hand, most of the businesses are struggling with income, like they are just losing grounds, losing markets quite fast, and it may not be returning. I mean, we had this question with Mr. Bekashi. If it's 2021, 2022, or 2023, that's still out there to find out. So what, for example, we can do for companies is we can save them money right now by saving them on costs, on personal detergent and all that. But for us to get there, I mean, in Europe, we are working with many locations like hospitals, mass transportation, obviously the biggest problem of all. And what we see is that the government support is very important, because if the government is expecting people to just clean every day like crazy, and they are not expecting them to be actually sanitized all the time, so like, you know, work versus result, then it's very hard for them to choose solutions that are not already in the available mix. So what we usually can do is to communicate with the governments, local governments, like Indonesian and European governments, and try to help them understand that the existing solutions can be replaced with permanent solutions. And if we replace permanent solutions, we do not have to pay attention to people coming and going and being sick and transferring the disease or any other disease for that matter, because we know that the object and the area is safe all the time. And this gives a peace of mind. So I think the whole economy slowdown is somewhat a result of the emotional stress on people. And if we can solve that, we can give them a safe place to work, to commute to work, unless they can do office from home. We can actually commit to ourselves to a better environment for all of them and a potentially like faster recovery for all. So that's where I think we can help a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. So that is the last questions. And I thank you for all panelists for giving a very interesting and very interactive discussions this afternoon. Let's give a round virtual applause to all panelists here. Thank you for joining and participating with the medical technology sessions. So thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, I will now hand over the sessions to the MC to officially close the Hunindo Tech 2.0 Business for You.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Agnes. So, after 2 days of interesting and insightful discussions, we have reached the end of the Hunindo Tech 2.0 Business Forum. 38 companies from both Hungary and Indonesia have shared their knowledge and experiences in the fields of infrastructure development, financial technology, cybersecurity, startup innovation and management, transportation technology, and medical technology. On behalf of the Embassy of Hungary in Indonesia, we would like to extend our gratitude to our sponsors, Ministry of Communications and Informatics of the Republic of Indonesia, Tungscrum Group, Celum, Telkom Indonesia, Arki FM, and FestiPay. We would also like to thank our honorable panelists for their significant contribution and, of course, our audience. We are delighted to have been able to host such an important event, and we hope that through this event, players from both countries can establish strong and lasting partnerships, especially in the above technologically driven sectors. Honorable panelists, ladies and gentlemen, we have recorded your sessions, and we will soon upload them to our website and YouTube channel. For anyone who has missed a session or would like to share them with others, do keep checking on our website for further updates at www.hunindotech.id. Once again, a big thank you to everyone participating. Stay safe, stay healthy, and until we meet again. Terima kasih.